Hello, everybody. Mark Newstater with eXp Realty, Thursday, April 22nd, and welcome to another weekly real estate update with Jaden Bax of Avenue Financial. And Jaden, I was asking how you're doing, which, I could definitely ask you this week, but, are you working less than 12 hours a day these days?
Well, I just had to decline a call from a client right now because we're doing this. So I would say, no, I'm still running a little bit hot, but I can see things starting to slow down slightly. But this week in particular, I'm still going pretty hard.
That's awesome. Yeah, me as well. It's been another busy week. So let's get to the stats and tell people what is going on. And we are still in a holding pattern of really a seller's market. Still at, again, when we add up the numbers here, 568 new detached listings. We had 527 solds, 243 pendings, and 17 expireds for a total of 2,385 new detached listings, on the market currently, versus 2,319. So, moderate increase there. So our solds and pendings are in that 760, 70, 770-ish in that area versus 568. So if you look, and I wanted to do this grid to kind of make it a little bit more clear for everybody, but really if you look at, you're really dating, we're looking at 5 weeks now, really looking back to the middle to end of March all the way to, so really for the last month, and really past that, but certainly for the last 4 to 5 weeks, 6 weeks, from what I've been showing on our weekly update here, we're still getting solds and pendings that are well above our new listing mark. So that again means that you are looking at a seller's market. If you're a seller, a buyer's market, you're not going to see for a little while anyway. But there's still pockets, right? So as an example, Jaden and I were working with a client who's moving here from Winnipeg, and they were looking at some houses in Calgary. The houses in Calgary were, hey, we're reviewing offers tonight at 9. They're getting 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 offers. Went up to Airdrie, which was also on this client's list. And they ended up getting a home in Airdrie, first day on the market. Beautiful home, and they're going to love it for years to come. So, and that was with no competition. So now, having said that, Airdrie is super hot too. But in this particular case, the home that they were looking at, there was a few of them in this newer area. So they were able to kind of, do some comparison shopping on the day we went looking at those homes, and they were able to lock down that home that day. So that was a smart move on their part, guided, of course, by me. Hello. But yeah, so that's kind of what is going on in the market, kind of status quo. Still tons of multiple offers going on in the market. Total listings of 5,467, again, up slightly because we're just not seeing the uptake on, especially apartment condos are still a challenge. And on that note, what I wanted to share was a bit of a story from yesterday, Jaden, and I want you to chime in on this as well. So had a meeting with a client yesterday, and they're looking at selling an apartment condo in Copperfield in Calgary. Bought it a few years ago, so they're looking at a loss when you factor in, the fees and things like that. But I said to them, they said, well, Mark, where's the market going to be for apartment condos, in the next 2 years? And I said, well, the challenge is that it's continually an oversupply problem with apartment condominiums. And there doesn't seem to be any signs of it slowing down. So new builders, construction is still continuing to happen with these big apartment complexes, and they're selling them, cheaply. And so that's going to create a supply problem for apartment condos. I said that the reason why prices have gone up 12% in Copperfield in the last year for a detached home, and they've gone, I think it was down, or let's just call it, they were flat in apartment condos, is purely supply and demand. In previous years leading up to today, we've had a supply problem on the wrong end for even detached homes, right? So the supply and demand is flipped on the detached side, and it's still oversupplied on the apartment condo side. And I said, and this is where Jaden, I want you to chime in. They said, yeah, and I said to them, the challenge is you have a great interest rate you can get on a purchase right now. you're going to lose a little bit of money on your sale of your condo, but you're going to gain when you have a much lower interest rates than who knows what they're going to be in 2 to 3 years from now. I think the assumption, Jaden, is that they'll probably be going up. And anecdotally speaking, am I out to lunch here?
No, like I said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. I'll never tell you what rates are going to be 6 months from now or 2 years from now. But the reality of the situation is that we're seeing rates slowly come back down below 2% again, but the rates don't have anywhere to go but up. Right? Honestly, like you might be able to kind of hit that sweet spot again at some point and get down to that 1.6, 1.5% on a fixed. That might be attainable in the next year or so. But going forward, we have nowhere to go but up, right? And so, we talk to clients about that all the time. And actually, a client of mine is a good friend with an underwriter at one of the lenders that I work with. And he asked for the guy's advice. And the lender said, you know what you should do? Lock in for as long as you possibly can, because this is the best market to do so. And in this guy's case, the best decision for him, what he really cared about was the next 3 years. And so he was still able to lock in at 1.59 over the next 3 years. But that's the important next phase of his life, right? So, yeah.
Well, and that's, I think, what I was trying to say to these people too, is that, let's say, and I didn't run the actual numbers, and someday we'll maybe do a little case study on our little weekly Facebook show here. But, if you actually ran the numbers, and let's say you're gonna pay, let's say the condo stays flat over the next 2 years, is what I would think it would do. Flat, if not go down further. But let's say it's flat. Let's be optimistic. Let's say it stays flat and it's 220, but you can pay down your mortgage. What would you pay down if a mortgage is 145 grand on it in 2 years? What would you pay down? 10 grand.
Yeah, 10. It depends on your interest rates but yeah.
So that's fair, right? So then you just have to look, okay, well, if I can pay 10 grand down, but my interest rate in 2 to 3 years from now on a new purchase of a single family detached home is going to be, 3.5%, 4%. Who knows where the rates are going to go? You just have to work those numbers forwards and backwards, and that's what we help you do through that whole process, because it's important to go, okay, yeah, it sucks that I'm losing money on this sale, but at the same time, it still may be a good time for me to do this because of the way interest rates are. So that was kind of my little story from yesterday. And Jaden, what else do you got for us this week?
Well, so I think I'll say more to that. I think it's important, especially as a first-time buyer, somebody who's considering buying an apartment condo, that you're working with a great realtor, and you know exactly what you want out of that, right? Because we have, another common clients who bought a place 2.5 years ago and now would like a house, and kind of in the same kind of situation where their condo is maybe flat worth what it was, but they'll be losing some money if they sell it. But maybe 2.5 years ago, they would have been better off. They were in a position where they could have stretched out and bought a semi-detached, detached, things that are doing better in the market, and maybe didn't have a realtor who was saying, these are the deficiencies or the negatives of a condo. This is the positives according to your lifestyle. These are our other options, right? So it's important to do that at the time of buying as well. I think generally speaking, the rule in real estate is you don't lose when you sell, you lose when you buy.
Yeah,
right?
That's a very good rule.
Yeah. And so and then in terms of what's going on, like I said, interest rates are kind of slowly coming back on some of the specials, and if you're closing in less than 45 days, you can get down to 194, 199 on a 5-year. Continues to be fantastic 3 and 4 year products, and the 5-year adjustable is still at 1.45%. There's a lot of great product out there. But the amount that I'm working, my underwriters are working much, much more than me. And so, you're going to very likely be a little bit frustrated with turnaround time on some of the document review. And we're seeing that. We're trying to talk these clients through that and explain to them, I know that conditions are literally tomorrow for some of you, but we haven't not closed on time yet. So just please be patient with us. We're trying to do our job on the back end, and we know that we have great partners in the lending part that are underwriting things, getting on things as quick as they can, and we really try and make sure that I in particular send in a very tight, complete package right off the bat.
Yeah, exactly. And I will say this about Jaden in particular and mortgage brokers in general. And this is absolutely no slag against people at a bank, but you are dealing with somebody that only gets paid when he gets the job done for you, like a realtor does. So just keep that in mind as you're weighing out your options. And sometimes the bank, as Jaden has mentioned many times, like an RBC can do things that maybe Jaden can't. So there's always options for you, but I always love referring people to Jaden because he works so dang hard for them and make sure that we never close late. So on many, many, many deals we've done over the past 3 years, it's never happened. So good comments. I'm actually just going to throw the stats back up on the screen just if people joined us late. Still kind of holding to our status quo here with new listings being under our sold and pendings for the week again. And our detached listings, jumped up slightly. Total listings jumped up slightly, but no crazy jumps. We're just not seeing the bursting of the bubble yet in terms of the seller's market. So for any questions, for an updated home value, if you're thinking about doing a refinance and want to kind of know, well, what generally, before I go the appraisal route and talk to Jaden about a refinance, what's my home value today versus 2 years ago? I'm happy to provide that for you. And then Jaden's obviously a great resource, even if you're just looking to do a refinance. So let's take that off the screen. And I think we're pretty much done worrying about the flames for this year, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. I just I can't even talk about it. You're gonna get me depressed.
Oh, sorry. Well, I guess we'll see by next week at this time. It's definitely either going to be golfing season or a little bit more excitement. So I guess we'll see, right?
Right. Yeah. If we could only pull out one game against Ottawa this season, that'd be nice. Oh, God.
Yeah, on the epitaph of the Flames season this year will be 6 losses against the Ottawa Senators. So enough said about that. Jane, thanks as always. Everyone have a great week. It's going to warm up eventually, sometime, maybe in June. No, I'm kidding. Have a great week, everybody. We will talk to you next week.
Have a good one, guys.